All right, welcome to What the Tech, the show that cuts right through the corporate BS. We're diving into something huge today, a major shift in the job market. And trust me, the news is probably not what you're expecting. You know that whole era of job hopping your way to a fat payday? Yeah, that's over. Let's get into the numbers. So for the last, few years, it's been the go-to career hack, right? If you wanted a big raise, you just switched jobs. Super simple, and hey, it worked like a charm. But if you're thinking that's still the move heading into 2025, well, you really need to stick around and see this data. And look, this isn't some wishy-washy trend. The data is crystal clear. It's a hard reversal. That window of opportunity for easy, massive pay bumps, it has officially slammed shut. So let's look at the first piece of evidence. Okay, so first up, let's just lay out the hard facts. The whole financial edge you used to get from switching jobs, it hasn't just gotten smaller, it's pretty much gone. And believe me, the numbers do not lie. You know, it feels like just yesterday we were all talking about the Great Resignation, right? A time when job hoppers could basically write their own checks. That was then. Now we're staring down something you could call the Great Stagnation. And that big premium, the reward you got for making a move, it's basically vanished into thin air. Okay, so check out this number, because this is the real kicker. For the first time since 2010, that's over a decade, government data is showing that the average pay raise for people who switch jobs is, wait for it, 4.3%. And guess what? That's the exact same increase people who stayed at their jobs got. The game is tied. That sweet arbitrage opportunity, poof, gone. And if you're not convinced, look at this. This is just brutal. This chart comes from Bank of America's own internal data. So back in 22, at the peak of the madness, job switchers were pulling in raises of over 20%. I mean, think about that. Today, that number has absolutely cratered to around 7%. Yeah, it's still a tiny bit more than staying put, but it's a ghost of what it used to be. The ultimate weapon in your career arsenal, job hopping, has basically been diffused. All right, so we've established the what. It's pretty clear, right? But the why, now that is the real story here. This isn't just some random blip on the radar. No, this is a fundamental shift in the power dynamics between you and your employer. And it's all happening for a handful of really specific reasons. Look, none of this is happening in a vacuum. The big takeaway? Employer leverage is back, big time. Hiring has slowed way down, especially in professional, white-collar sectors, which means you've got fewer competing offers to play with. On top of that, companies are getting nervous about the economy, about tariffs, and that gives them all the justification they need to hit the brakes on hiring and start throwing out lowball offers. The pendulum has officially swung all the way back. And this quote, this one from that same Bank of America report, man, it just nails it. It says it all. During the whole Great Resignation frenzy, you, the employee, held all the cards. The power was yours. Well, now it has swung decisively back to the employer. They're back in the driver's seat. They can call the shots again because they know you just don't have as many options. Okay, so now we get to the fun part, the narrative game, because you're absolutely going to hear a ton of corporate spin about why this is happening. So let's cut through all that PR nonsense and expose what's really going on behind the curtain. So here's the official story you're going to get fed. Oh, workers have just changed. They're tired of all that job hopping. They're seeking stability and loyalty now. It's a really convenient story for them, isn't it? But let's be real. The actual structural reality is a lot harsher. It's not that we all suddenly developed a deep love for corporate loyalty. It's that our bargaining power got yanked right out from under us. And there's actually a term for this little trick. It's called narrative misdirection. It's all about framing a consequence, something that happens to you, as a choice that you made. So by saying workers are choosing stability, they completely hide the real story, which is that your ability to move, your actual power, has been seriously cut. It's a classic playbook move. Make something bad sound like a good thing for the very people getting the short end of the stick. So, okay, we've laid out this new reality. The big question is, what the heck do you do about it? Because this isn't just some abstract economic story. No, this has real, direct consequences for your career, for the company's hiring, and honestly, for the entire market. All right, let's break this down. For you, the worker, the message is crystal clear. Your leverage doesn't come from threatening to leave anymore. It now comes from having skills that are so specialized and in demand that they can't afford to lose you. Now, for employers, listen up. This is a warning. Don't get too comfortable and think this is the new normal forever. If you underpay your best people now, you are going to see a massive talent drain the second this cycle flips back. And for the market as a whole, well, less mobility just means slower wage growth, less consumer spending, and ultimately less innovation. Nobody really wins in the long run. So the bottom line is this, plain and simple. The game has completely changed. You can't just coast on the economic cycle anymore and expect a big raise just for swapping company t-shirts. From now on, your career mobility, your ability to make more money, it's all tied directly to the unique, hard-to-find skills that you bring to the table. And that leaves us with one last kind of provocative question I want you to really think about. As you look at your own job, your own career, if you're staying put right now, you have to ask yourself, honestly, is that loyalty a real choice you're making from a position of strength? Or is it just a consequence of a market that's taken that choice, that power right out of your hands? Something to chew on.